Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel AWS DevOps Niche Level. So in this video, we will see how to monitor a custom metric using AWS CloudWatch. So we know that CloudWatch is a native monitoring solution from AWS, which is used to monitor any AWS resources. And if at all you want to get an alert on any threshold violations when any resources go down, we can configure a CloudWatch alarm. So in CloudWatch, basically we have two types of metrics. So we have a standard metric and custom metric. So in this video, I'm going to focus on how do you enable a monitoring of custom metrics using CloudWatch. So let us go through a few points about CloudWatch. So CloudWatch is a monitoring service provided by AWS. It's a native monitoring solution from AWS. And each and every cloud provider will have their own monitoring solutions. So if you take Azure, so we have, the Azure Monitor. Then there is the another monitoring solution within Azure, which is used to monitor the applications as well. So every every cloud provider, basically they have their own monitoring solution. And CloudWatch is a monitoring solution from AWS. And there are two types of monitoring what CloudWatch provides. So it provides something called as a basic monitoring, and there is a detailed monitoring. So what is the difference between basic monitoring and detailed monitoring? So basically this basic monitoring is available by default, and whenever the CloudWatch polls the metrics every 5 minutes, right? So it can be any metric. If you take a EC2 instance, it can be a EC2 instance, CPU utilization, memory utilization, etc. So as part of the basic monitoring, any metric that needs to be monitored will be polled every 5 minutes. Okay. But if at all you want a more granular monitoring for any of the metric, for example, I want to monitor a particular metric every 10 seconds or every 5 seconds, right? So in that case, we can go ahead and enable the detailed monitoring. Okay, so that is a primary difference between the CloudWatch basic monitoring and detailed monitoring. Then as part of the detailed monitoring, it is going to incur some dollars because, since it's polling the metrics at a much granular level, it is going to incur some charges, right? Then we have two types of metrics. So we have a standard metric and there is a custom metric, right? So what are all the metrics that will be part of the standard metrics? So if you see the metrics like CPU utilization, so let me open the Sketchbook app. So metrics like CPU utilization, then network in bytes and out bytes, right? Or CPU credit balance, or disk reads, disk writes. Okay, so all these metrics are typically part of the standard metrics because they are available by default whenever CloudWatch starts monitoring your EC2 instance. So typically these are the metrics related to the EC2 instance. Like this, for any resource that you launch in AWS, there will be a standard metrics what will be provided by CloudWatch, right? And these standard metrics are available free of charges. There is no cost incurred for the standard metrics. Okay, so metrics like CPU utilization, network in and out bytes, CPU credit balance, disk reads and writes, etc. These are all part of the standard metrics. So now we have the second category, which is the custom metrics. Okay, so custom metrics, they are not available by default. And whenever you want a monitoring of the custom metrics from CloudWatch, you need to install something called as a CloudWatch agent. Okay, so the custom metrics can be collected only by the CloudWatch agent. And if you see here, these are all the example of your custom metrics, right? So the metrics like memory utilization, it's not available by default. Then the swap utilization, then the disk space utilization. So you want to monitor the free space on your disk drives. For example, in Windows, I want to monitor the free space available on C drive and D drive, etc. Similarly, in Linux, I want to see the utilization of my root file system, or the /var file system, etc. Right? So that is a disk space utilization. And even if you want to monitor your log files, whether it can be a application log file or a system log file, they are all part of the custom metrics. And custom metrics would need a CloudWatch agent, which has to be installed on the EC2. Okay. So standard metrics is available by default, but custom metrics, it would need a installation of a CloudWatch agent, and we need to configure that agent also, mentioning what metrics to be monitored as part of the custom metric. Okay. And since this custom metrics is not out of a box solution, since it necessitates the installation of the agent, etc., this is also not a free solution. It is going to incur some charges. Okay. So whenever you enable detailed monitoring or you want to go for custom metrics, then there will be some additional charges that will be incurred. Okay. So now let me go back. Fine team. So now we can directly get into the lab and we will see how do you configure this custom metrics by installing the CloudWatch agent. So there is a link here which has the detailed instructions how to do it, which is what we are going to go through in the lab demo, but I'll be putting this link also in the description of this video. Okay, so let us get into the lab demo. So what is the first step? Let's go ahead and create a EC2 instance. Then we will create a role for the CloudWatch agent and then attach it to the EC2 instance. So in whichever instance we are going to install a CloudWatch agent, that instance should have some appropriate permissions. So for that, we need to create a role. Then we need to install the CloudWatch agent. Then we need to configure the CloudWatch agent. Then let's see after the configuration whether the custom metrics are getting collected. And then, we will just validate if we can able to see the custom metrics. Right, so let us just get directly into the lab demo now. The first step, create a EC2 instance. So I will go back to my AWS console and I will click launch instances here. Let me say CloudWatch agent demo. Maybe I'll select the Linux 2 AMI. Okay, so this I will leave it to t2.micro and I'm going to select key pair. So in the network setting, probably I will allow the SSH traffic just from my IP address and we'll go ahead and launch the instance. Okay, so while this instance is getting launched, so let us go to our second step where we need to create a role for the CloudWatch agent and we need to attach that role to the EC2 instance. So what I will do for that, I will go into the IAM console and we can go ahead and create a role. I will search for IAM here. And I'll click role and I will create a role. The service, I'm going to select AWS service. And to which service we are going to assign this role? It's to the EC2. I will select EC2, click next. And what is the permission we need to provide as part of the role? So these are all the two permissions. What is needed for the EC2 instance wherever we are going to install the CloudWatch agent, right? One is the EC2 role for SSM. Other one is a CloudWatch agent server policy. So I'm going to map these two permissions to this role. First, I will enter EC2 role for SSM. Let me select this one. And then I'll copy this CloudWatch agent server policy. Select this one. Let me click next. And I'm going to give a name for this role. I will say CloudWatch agent role. Okay, so this is the role. You can see here, these are the two permissions we have mapped. EC2 role for SSM and CloudWatch agent server policy. Now let me go ahead and click create role. Okay, so now the role has been created. Now what is our next step? We have to assign this role or attach this role to the EC2 instance. Okay, so I'll go back to my instance here. So the instance is already in the running state. I'll select the instance, go to Actions, Security, modify IAM role, and I'm going to select the role that we just created, which is CloudWatch agent role. This one, and I'll just say update IAM role. Now this instance has been assigned with this role. Okay, now we can go ahead and install our CloudWatch agent, right? So now let us get into the third step, where we will be downloading the CloudWatch agent binaries, and then we will unzip it, and then we will install the agent. So let me log into this instance. On footy. Okay, let me upload the credentials. Okay, EC2-user. I'll switch the user to the root. Okay, so now maybe I will go into the OPT directory. We can try to install it under the OPT directory. And here, this is the first step where we need to download the CloudWatch agent binary that is available in the S3 repository. So as you can see here, these binaries are available under s3.amazonaws.com under this particular folder, Amazon CloudWatch agent. So let me go ahead and download them first. Okay, so the binaries have been downloaded. Okay, now let us go ahead and unzip the packages. I will say unzip Amazon CloudWatch agent.zip. Okay, so now let us go ahead and execute this command /install.sh, which is going to install the agent. Okay, so you can see here the installation is done, and as part of the installation, it has created a user named CW agent and a group also named CW agent. Okay, so now let us go ahead, go into this directory, and we need to configure the agent. Okay, so I'm inside this directory, CloudWatch agent/bin, and if I give a ls-l here, there is a CloudWatch agent config wizard, right? So we need to invoke that wizard and answer some questions in order to tell CloudWatch agent what to monitor or what to collect. So let us go ahead and go through these questions. So on which OS are you planning to use the agent? Default choice is 1, Linux. Anyway, ours is a Linux. So I will just say enter. And is asking, trying to fetch the default region based on the EC2 metadata. So are we doing it on a EC2 or on premises? So we are installing this agent on the EC2 instance, right? So I'll go with the default choice. Then which user you are planning to run the agent? Maybe we'll go with the CloudWatch agent itself, the default. So do you want to turn on the start state demand? Yes, I will go ahead and turn it on because we do not want any additional statistics apart from the basic server level metrics. So here I will say 2. And even for collect D also, I'm going to say 2, no. So do you want to monitor any host metrics like CPU and memory? Yes. And do you want to monitor the CPU metrics per core? So if at all you are running some multi-core processor and you want to monitor the metrics per core, that is also possible, but that's going to incur some additional charges. So in our case, I'm going to just say 2, no. And do you want to add the EC2 dimensions? Or, if at all you want to group the metrics under the dimension, then yeah, we can go for it. So I will just say 1, yes. And do you want to aggregate the dimensions? Yes. So I can group the metrics under one dimension. Then would you like to collect your metrics at a high resolution? So if at all you want to collect the metrics at every 1 second, 10 second, 30 and 60. That's basically the maximum you can see is 60 seconds. So we can go with the default option 4. And which default metrics you want to configure. So basic, standard, advanced, there are three types of metrics that is available. So if at all you want some, a good level of metrics, so we can go for standard, but I will try to explain the difference between the three. For now, I'll go with standard 2. So are you satisfied with the above config? Yes, I will say 1. So do you have any existing CloudWatch log agent to import for configuration? So nothing as such. So I will just say default choice is 2. Do you want to monitor any log files? So if at all you want to monitor any system log file or application log file, we can actually go for yes here, because log file monitoring is available as part of the custom monitoring, as I told you. So log file path, for example, if I want to monitor var ADM messages, that's a log file. So I can give the path here, and it's asking for a log group name, messages, let it be messages, that's fine. And log group class, we can go with maybe a standard class. Log stream also, maybe I will say, let's say just stream. Okay, and log retention days, by default it is going for 1 day. Yeah, we can go with the default option. If you want to specify any additional log file, I will say 2, no. And do you want a CloudWatch agent to also retrieve X-ray traces? That's not needed. And do you want to store the config file in the SSM parameter store? I will say no. That's it. Okay, so this is how we do the configuration using the CloudWatch agent. Now what we will do, we will try to initialize the CloudWatch process. So this is a command. So let me copy this command. So CloudWatch agent -ctl, and we are telling the agent to fetch the configuration from the config file, which is the config.json. So whatever the questions that we answered, right? So all those configurations will be available in the config.json file. So we are going to have the CloudWatch process parse this file and restart the process. That's what this command is doing. So you can see here, so created the system link, which means that the CloudWatch process has been started successfully. Now let us check the status. If the agent is successfully running. Yes, you can see here. Status is running, right? And the configuration is also done. And the agent version is 1.30. Okay. So yeah, this is how you install and configure the CloudWatch agent. Right. So now we will see whether has it started collecting the custom metrics. So it is going to take some time. But before that, as I was telling you before, the standard metrics. So what are all the standard metrics? So I was giving you a list, right? CPU utilization, network in bytes, discrete. So we can also see that under the monitoring tab. So if you see, this is the EC2 instance, and under that we have a monitoring tab, and whatever metrics that you can see in the monitoring tab, right? So these are all your standard metrics. Okay. So CPU utilization, network in bytes, network out bytes, the network packet rates, right? And even if I scroll down, so you can see here the credit usage, CPU credit balance, etc. So all these are your standard metrics. So any instance that whenever you launch, if you click the monitoring tab, whatever metrics that you would see, these are all the standard metrics. Okay. But for the custom metrics, as I told you, you need to install the CloudWatch agent. And the metrics like memory, swap, disk space, and log monitoring, all these are part of the custom metrics. Okay, so now let us go back to this instance and we will see whether do we have the custom metrics already collected. So let me go into the CloudWatch console. And I will go under the metrics, all metrics. Okay, now you can see here, team, once we install our agent, it has created one separate namespace called as the CloudWatch agent. Okay, so all your custom metrics you can see under this namespace. So if I click that namespace, you can see the individual dimensions it has created. So image ID, instance ID. So if I click this dimension, I can see some custom metrics. So you can see here. Let us also check what is our instance ID. It is 98980. So I'm going to search for that particular instance ID. Okay, so here you can see the disk space metrics that is available. So under this, you can see the, all the disk space related metrics. Then I will go back to the main namespace and let us click this one, the second namespace. And under this, also you can see some disk space related metrics. Okay, the disk utilization metrics. So you have the file systems like /dev/run, the root file system, etc. Right? And again, if I go back, there is a third dimension, instance ID. And under that, you can see here, the other custom metrics are shown here. The memory used percentage, the swap used percentage, disk inodes free, the disk used percentage, etc. Right? So these are some additional custom metrics. And again, if I go back and click this fourth dimension, you can see the other custom metric called as disk IO time. Okay, so this is how you can basically access your custom metric. And if you want to put up a dashboard and you want to add some custom metric widgets into the dashboard, that also is possible. You have to create a dashboard and add your custom metrics into the dashboard. Okay. For example, I can click a dashboard here. I can say create dashboard and just name it as system performance dashboard. So under this, I can actually add a custom metric. So for example, we have a line graph or a stacked area graph, etc. For example, I want to add a bar graph. I can click next here. And if I want to add a custom metric, for example, I want to add, the memory used percentage as one of the widget within my dashboard. I can just say create widget. So it will take some time in order to collect the metric as we have just enabled it, right? So it is going to take some time. But yeah, this is how you can enable your custom metrics using the CloudWatch agent. Okay. So once you wait for some time, we should be able to see some data values for each of this custom metric. Okay, and I was also showing you a link. So let us go through this link where you can see the difference between the various types of monitoring. Yeah, you can see here, we saw three categories, right? Basic monitoring, standard monitoring, and advanced monitoring while configuring the CloudWatch agent. So if you enable the basic monitoring, we are going to get only these two metrics, memory used percentage and disk used percentage. But if you are going for a standard monitoring, you are getting some additional metrics. So whatever that we saw on the instance dashboard, right? So these are all part of the standard metrics. And apart from that, yes, whatever metrics that we are collecting via the CloudWatch agent also, so that is also available. You can see here the metrics like memory use percentage, swap use, disk IO time, disk used percentage, etc. That is also coming under the standard category. And if you are going for advanced, you are getting good number of custom metrics with the advanced option. Okay, so the more the custom metrics that you are collecting, the charges are also going to be proportional. Okay. Okay, so this is a quick preview of the steps that we did. So we created an EC2 instance, then we created a role for the CloudWatch agent and we attached that role to the EC2 instance. Then we installed the CloudWatch agent. We configured the agent by answering various questions on what are all the metrics it has to monitor. Then we also we were able to check the custom metrics under the CloudWatch dashboard. Okay, under the namespace CW agent. Okay, so and whatever custom metrics that you want to be monitored, you can select that, create an alarm for those, or if you want to add them to the dashboard, that also can be done. Okay. So yeah, this is a quick summary basically on how do you install and configure your CloudWatch agent, typically to monitor your custom metrics, including the log files. So I hope this content was helpful. So if you like this video, please press the like button. And if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, you can subscribe to my channel. And if you feel this content would be helpful to any of your known circles, you can please feel free to share it to your known circles too. So that's all I had for this video.